I would be among the first to admit that we made mistakes in government. I will be among the first to admit that there was corruption within previous Antigua Labour Party administrations. But I have to admit that the corruption that exists today under the UPP regime makes corruption under the previous ALP administration child's play, my dear people.
I mean, this thing is explosive.
There will be no job losses under the Labour Party administration.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance,
I now turn to the water shortage that has plagued this country for some time. And I say to you tonight that leadership matters. I say to you tonight that the water shortage that our people have been experiencing is an issue that belongs to a different age. And I say too that we have made positive steps in order to resolve the water problem. And I guarantee you that within 14 days, there will be increased water supply in this country.
Let's face the music and dance.
A cornerstone of our general election campaign was the provision of affordable housing. Indeed, we promised 500 homes in 500 days. And we said to you that you would have gotten 500 homes in 500 days. Those with little or no vision said that it could not be done. Well, as your Prime Minister, I say to you that it can be done and that it shall be done.
Let's face the music and dance. Let's face the music and dance.
I mean, this thing is explosive.
This is True Labor Talks with your host, the executive of the Antigua and Barbuda True Labor Party.
Good afternoon, Bird here, True Labor Talks. It's a pleasure to be with you and be sharing some of our thoughts and ideas on how to make a better and safer Antigua and Barbuda. And this is True Labor Talks. It's a podcast, probably the only podcast, political podcast in Antigua and Barbuda, or for the matter of fact in the Leeward Islands. And it's been going on now for over 3 years, I believe. And in the studio as usual is me and co-host Lionel Nedwell. Say something, Lionel.
Yes, good afternoon to the listening public. It's always nice to be here with you, and today is no different. We'll be touching a number of different topics again, keep you informed, and that's what we're here for. We are doing it quite well. So time is of the essence in this one as well. So
we're going to get right into it. That's basically what he's trying to say.
Yes.
Campaigning, the last time we went to campaigning, the area we're in, there was a concern that I noticed, and it's been all areas of St. John's Road South, the lack of signage, that they don't have proper signs saying the roads, because we were trying to, get into our database really, what street we are on and who lives on that street. And most people will say Lower Otters, or this is called Radio Range. I mean, the whole place is called Radio Range. What is this road? I actually believe those roads have been named, but it's been so long ago. It's almost history now that people don't remember. So there needs to be a road naming campaign. And in addition to that, the signage, because what we noticed is that where we were campaigning last week, somebody licked down a sign outside one of the person's houses, one of the constituents' houses, and there's no attempt to put it back up.
It's been there for
and
a while.
it's a pardon me?
It's been there for a while.
Yeah, it's been there for a while, and more importantly, it's a stop sign where it notifies the driver, the vehicles that they need to stop, and the other cars coming in the other direction have the right of way. That wasn't there, and the guy told us after that stop sign went down, there was another potential accident because people weren't yielding or slowing down or stopping to let other cars come through. Even the other one that was coming in the opposite direction, that was up, but that looked like something that might have been put up in the 60s. It's one of them old cast iron looking stop sign, and it's rusting, and like the paint is really coming off. But I believe most of us, where you're looking at, won't even realize what is on the sign because it's so faded. But you know those type of old signs, you know that's a stop sign. You recognize the shape of it, what it is, but not what it's saying because you can't read what's on it.
At all. It wasn't legible.
You know, that is one of the problems we saw in the constituencies just last week. Yes, the campaign is going well. The whole idea of campaign is to remain consistent and to give a positive message. We are early in the campaign. I believe we are trying our best to keep it on a positive note, try to stay away from negativity. But yeah, Nedwell, you go in and give me your 2 cents of how you thought the campaign went.
Oh, it's really well there. It's going nicely. The people are talking to us the way that we'd expect them to be talking, and they're saying the things that we want to hear. You spoke of that sign that fell there, and it's nothing different than how they handle these constituencies and areas. Look at the potholes that's a little down the road, a little, down. There are a number of potholes, and they're quite deep. And it seems as if nobody is even taking any notice of it there.
More so the Minister of Public Works.
Oh yes, the Minister
the
of Works.
representative of that constituency.
Right, that's constituency. He's in charge of getting all that infrastructure in place, and then he's not doing nothing like that there. But other than that, it's fairly decent with how the people are dealing with us. They want to talk to us. As a matter of fact, they don't want to see the UPP and the LP. This lady, after we left that stop sign, I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
And she said, who are you? He said, Labour. She said, Labour. She pulled back a little bit because she heard the Labour. She didn't hear the True. But then when you explained to her True, she welcomed. She was glad that
she said she would vote for me.
Yes.
Because she don't want to see anybody else.
Nobody else. So, so encouraging.
Yeah.
The way the campaign is going, and
Definitely.
I do hope that we will keep up that momentum. There's no reason why we shouldn't, and take it where we need to take it coming to election time.
Yes. Well, that's it for the campaign side. I won't go over that and beat a dead horse. It's going well, as most of the weeks. I mean, the only time we had a little setback really was a few weeks ago when the rain came down and dosed us good and proper. And 1 or 2 times there we are out there campaigning, and you do get some individuals who have no clue politically what is going on in the country. And that is very defeating because you can't really sit there and tell them what's going on and for make them to make up a mind based on what you're saying, You try to get out a message to them and let them know what you plan to do for them, right? And leave it at that. But sometimes there's some people out there haven't a clue what is going on. We're not talking about kids, our first-time voters, Grown men and women in a democracy have no idea of the democratic system and their role in a democratic system to be as well informed as possible. So that when they go in the polls, they are not going in there to make a joke.
Blindly.
Yeah, blindly and just to farm fool. Yes. The next topic we're going into is really Barbuda. It's still the main topic, and I actually believe that this will be the real issue come election time, because it is so dependent on developing the Twin Island state, what they plan to do over in Barbuda with Robert De Niro and several other investors. We're now hearing that the Chinese want to build a village over in Barbuda. In addition to that our Prime Minister Gaston Brown was basically telling that Donald Trump in Newsweek, I just read an article, that is foolishness he was doing with walking out of the agreement, the environment agreement. You know, Paris, I think it's the Paris Agreement.
Yeah.
I think it was when he walked out. Yeah. So I don't know if that is a wise thing to really mention Donald Trump.
Yeah, picking a fight
You are
with Donald.
independent nation state. This is not Puerto Rico where we are dependent on them. But you need to learn to pick your enemies. Obviously, Mr. Trump is very vindictive and spiteful and must have the last say. And nobody is smarter, nobody is richer, nobody is more capable than him. So I don't know where Mr. Brown is really going in to pick a fight on what Mr. Trump did. Because Mr. Brown himself had the opportunity to be the politician or the prime minister in the Caribbean who was the most environmentally savvy. He went up to Guana Island and he said he didn't realize, he doesn't know of one scintilla of mangrove that has been removed.
That's right.
But he didn't know that there were various types of mangroves.
Wow.
And when he was informed about it, he had to be told that there's brown, black, white, and all kind of different mangroves, which I didn't know myself. But you need to leave this to the professionals. You need to leave it to the professionals.
Yeah. But
You
we weren't running around behaving like we know it all.
No, that's it.
Yeah,
If we make a mistake, we'll inform us.
that's
But
also true.
just a year before we get hit by this hurricane in 2017, or the Caribbean, a fair amount of islands in the Caribbean. And all last year, I didn't hear any concern about being prepared for hurricanes. I didn't hear any concern of having ample shelter and evacuation strategy for Barbuda. You understand? And these are the things that are going on right now. And more so what they plan to do to Barbudans. Because it's a month now after that hurricane. And from what I am seeing, hearing on the radio, a lot of people are calling in like if they're weary of the Barbudans now. Their goodwill towards Barbudans has run out.
Yes.
And it's amazing. 4 weeks later, now they were talking about, come, bring them. Oh, we have to open up. It's a national emergency. We have to look out for Barbudans. But now it appears that if they're getting worried, I hear some on the radio telling them to go back to Barbuda, you're lazy, you don't want to build your country and all these sort of things.
Yeah, that's been said.
Right? But it is amazing because, as I've told them on the radio and so on, it's not the Barbudans went to look for the Antiguans and said, let us form a unitary state called Antigua and Barbuda. The Antiguans, the leadership went to look for Barbuda and annexed them in 1967. And since then, we had an agreement where the lands of Barbuda will remain communal lands.
That's what it is.
So in order to say Antigua and Barbuda, you gave up that right to go and give them block and parcel number. So why now, what's that, the 67, that is what? That is 50 years?
50
so half a century now into this union. You are now saying, hey, scrap that. Forget what we agreed to in the past.
Agreement.
Even more so in 81 when we finally became independent with Barbuda along. You're saying scrap that. Let us work with getting them block and parcel numbers, and the communal system is dead.
You know what I'm saying?
Because, to be honest, I don't believe it's only the Antigua and Barbuda politicians who failed Barbuda. I believe the Barbuda Council, they have failed their people also.
very much so.
The level of development in Barbuda should have been a lot further down the line. Should have been a lot more, you could have basically said, to hell with what the central government want. We have enough business over here and industry to provide work for 1,000 people, 2,000 people. Barbuda Council, really? You're in the 21st century. You on a 62 square mile islands with abundance of fish, lobster, marine life, land, and you cannot find enough investment for 2,000 people? We're not saying 20,000, 2,000 people that you keep running to the government of Antigua. They are shameful. They need to be held accountable. Both politicians, both the central government and Barbuda Council. 2,000 investors. They're saying that Antigua can't be, Barbuda cannot be self-sufficient. What you got to say about that, Nedwell?
Yeah, the people appears to want to go back home. You know, I heard of a cleanup campaign that's coming up shortly.
Yeah, that's
The
supposed to be on the
people-
24th and the 25th.
Yeah. And it seems as if the people want to go back to their way of living. The council, to me, they're purposeless. They are not helping Barbuda in any way. They are not even saying the things that will put the central government on its heel to do what they have to do in order to get Barbuda going in the right direction there. So I am not surprised with the way the central government, they're not even, they can't take care of 2,000 people. That is really, you know,
That
it's
is
unheard
a
of.
minuscule
Yeah,
amount.
in this time.
For any, if you said you were, I mean, you have to consider this, you know, Nedwell.
Yeah.
Montserrat is 32 square miles.
Square miles, yeah.
And I think it's like around, what, 19 or 20 now? Because remember they have the restricted zone for the
Right,
volcano.
okay, yeah.
Even that, they're not functioning at the full square mileage of the island any longer. So Barbuda probably have, what, 3 times, 4 times how much land?
That's right.
And they have been able to function over there, have international airport and be able to develop their island. I mean, yes, they are a colony, they are a dependency of the United Kingdom. But Barbuda Council has been in effect for a very long time. And I cannot understand why a minuscule amount of people, they cannot provide work for them over there. They should be able to shut up central government and actually tell central government, we have more work than our people can handle. We may need to send over some Barbudans.
That's right.
Make sure they go back at the end of the day.
That's right. But there's something really wrong with the way how these people, you know, politics within itself in this area. There's a lot of games playing there. You know, there's a lot of give and take here, and I owe you one, and all these foolishness. This is what's crippling the whole thing there. People don't speak out. They turn a blind eye and lots of things there. And this is why that it continues the way that it's going.
So
you
true.
know, I just don't understand why the council behaves like this. I heard during the hurricane when Barbuda got Arthur Nibs was making some statements and actually letting the Barbuda people feel, well, look, this is it. If you don't take investments from the outside, you know, you'll be gone. You know, and these are the things that, you know, I don't see a council behaving like that and see it's beneficial. It's not beneficial at all there, as to the way I see it. Again, you said that there is nothing set up, you know, that if it was Antigua got hit, it would have been a severe problem. If Antigua and Barbuda got hit, now I don't know what really would have happened. Because our economy is in shambles, as you see it. They're still talking about taking some of the money that came in for the nation to pay wages and salaries, you know, and all this good stuff. So it shows that we are not really in tune and we are quite behind with what's going on, you know, within our economy.
The government started open a bank account, I think is at CUB, Caribbean Union Bank, and some other bank.
Okay.
And they said it was funds for relief for Barbudans because of the hurricanes. And they managed to go dip into the fund to go pay salaries. That is the responsibility of the government. They are obligated to pay the salaries because they hire these people.
Funds are funds.
Now, the thing is, our government, the Antigua and Barbuda government, is cash-strapped. They are desperate men and they clung to life by just selling our passports. Because they did not have what they call due diligence, right?
That's right.
And people slipped in the program that Canada did not like. And there were undesirables on that list.
That's right.
The Canadians, since earlier in this year, has made it a requirement for Antiguans to come to Canada. We have to have a visa.
That's right.
And because of that, the program, the CIP, the Selling of the Passport program, is dying. They're not making any money. I think the Prime Minister said it's about $600,000 they made in the last month or two.
Yeah.
And
the price has reduced as well.
The price has reduced now. So that will even be worse. That was at 250,000. You understand? So they must have sold about 3 or 4 passports there. Now they've reduced it to 1,000. they may even have to consider reducing that to $50,000. It is dead. The program is dead. I hear that even the main opposition, the UPP, were on the radio the other day, and they were talking about legalizing marijuana to pay off the national debt.
What are you saying?
You know, it's just amazing that something that we had brainstormed and come up with for our 2014 manifesto, that one of the major parties is actually considering it. Now, I don't have a problem any political party putting it into effect. But I will say this, and I'll say this from now and forever. If it's not the True Labour Party implementing legalization of marijuana, then we should not legalize marijuana. Why? Because these gentlemen are going to reward their friend and company. They are bringing along a bag of cronies. And as I've said before, the Rastafarian communities are going to be on the outside looking in. They have marginalized, they have prosecuted and persecuted this segment of our society for many years for smoking marijuana. And unfortunately, if it is Antigua Labour Party, corrupt Labour Party, or UPP implements the legalization of marijuana, they're going to mess it up. Just like they messed up the CIP program. Just like they messed it up. Tell me what haven't big projects that either of these parties, when they get into power, that they handle, that they haven't made a mess of. Free trade zone, corrupt and in a mess. Building a car park on St. John's Field, corrupt and in a mess and unfinished. Selling the Royal Antigua and Barbuda Hotel, corrupt, messed up. I don't even think they even got all the money back yet. With Dudley Power Plant, buying your own generators to you should be in charge. The government you should own your own source of generating power in Antigua and Barbuda. Corrupt, messed up. I don't even think any of the generators are working now. You see, CIP program. The Prime Minister is the one in opposition who came up with the idea. Barwin Castrap said his government was going to implement it. He started about a year into his administration. The last year of his administration, he was into it. And Mr. Brown comes in there and goes more aggressive about getting sales of the passport. And look at where we end up now.
That's right.
No money. Our name is mud internationally because anybody can buy it. And we don't have access to one of the major powers in the Western Hemisphere. That is Canada. And that is a Commonwealth country. We are close to these people. We have many family members and Antiguans in general live in Canada. But to get there is a hassle.
Yeah, and expensive.
Oh, yes, very expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah, you know, I was reading an article a few nights ago that it says, legal weed is an amazing opportunity for women. Right now, the stage has gone even further. You know, where Canada and America, their stock markets have been regulated to accommodate the marijuana program. And now they're talking about the opportunities that women has to have within this particular area. I don't know why we took so long in order to get this thing going. But then you said it, you know, maybe it's for the better. Because then if either of these two parties get their hands on this marijuana thing, it's going to be problems for the Rastafari.
Quick and corrupt.
That's right. They're going to corrupt it. The problems for the Rastafari, their friends and cronies again are going to benefit just
they're
like anything else.
They're going to bump those Rastafarians, move them aside,
you better believe that.
and take over.
It's like anything else, you know. They're friends and cronies. Friends and cronies.
They have to. These people must be kept fed and fed very well.
Oh, yes, and extremely well.
Yeah.
Well
I don't know. I was listening to the BBC earlier today. I was in town and so on, getting about some business, filing some documents about the High Court. And then I was listening to the news. And they said that Peru has legalized marijuana. I've started a marijuana industry. I think they said that was the sixth country in the Western Hemisphere that has legalized marijuana for the purpose of medical marijuana usage. You understand? And the fear is, as I'm saying to Antiguan people, we don't need to get into legalizing marijuana for a medical industry tomorrow or next week. It has to have been done yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we're a small country and we cannot produce the size of yield that these larger countries can do. We have to get into the market and we have to take a certain percentage of that market, a niche, and we need to secure the high-end quality of the marijuana product. And we can do that in Antigua and Barbuda. But the longer we take to get our name out there and what we do into this industry is the harder to break in, because every country that has legalized marijuana or have a medical marijuana industry is 10, 20, 30, 50,000 times bigger than Antigua and Barbuda.
That's true.
So you have to be realistic. And that is the real danger, that we came up with a pretty good regulated marijuana industry
program,
for Antigua since our manifesto 2014.
Yeah.
It is over 3 years later. And now we hear in our opposition parties also talking about it because they don't have any other plan.
No.
But remember, we didn't even just say marijuana. Everybody say, oh, one is your thing. We talk about light manufacturing.
That's right.
But then the problem with light manufacturing, it has to be affordable. Because if you have this sort of prices to pay for energy consumption when you're running your machines in light manufacturing, it's going to eat into your product, into your profits.
That's right. It takes
You
up
understand?
the price of the consumer.
Yeah,
That as well. So it's one of these things where that the parties in question, that's the two major parties, the other two major parties, they're not too concerned, really and truly, about what getting Antigua off on a proper economic start. We're talking about economic powerhouse here.
Yeah.
Where are they starting to get this on stream for Antigua to become an economic powerhouse? I don't see it. They're not talking about marijuana. Marijuana has done so much for Colorado and the other states in America. We are a tourist-based economic dependent.
Yeah.
And when we see that what the tourism has done for, what the marijuana has done for the tourism in Colorado, we know it's something that could benefit Antigua. But we are not looking at it from that direction. I don't know what direction they're looking at it, but I know if they were looking at it from that particular direction, that the whole thing would be already be debating in Parliament or whatever they have to do to get it on stream there. So it's the only way I see that we can get off on a proper economic flow, and in terms of paying off our debts and people living a comfortable life.
With a decent paying job.
Yeah, it's miserable right now.
It's miserable. It's been miserable in Antigua for a long time.
People can't purchase what they want. You go to the supermarket, you have to just cut back on your purchases and stuff like that.
And you know, even the product in the supermarket.
That's
hey,
right.
you know that I noticed a lot of the products that are in the supermarket, what you're accustomed to before the hurricane, made in here, or the brands, you don't see them anymore.
No,
I see all kind of stuff with Middle Eastern writings on the products.
And all that kind of
I'm
things.
wondering if these stuff have passed through any sort of inspector for quality and human consumption.
It doesn't seem so.
But that's another issue. But you're just wondering, like, boy, a hurricane has thrown us so far off that we don't have anything that we can grow here to feed our own people.
I've seen coconut water coming from Indonesia. It's a funny thing that's going on right now with Antigua. We had the opportunity to be so far ahead here. Our strategic location and all that has given us the edge over the years. But it seems as if we didn't capitalize on that there. We haven't capitalized on anything else. Talking about the marijuana too, we grow nearly the best product. Any product that we grow can compete with any product coming from elsewhere.
Yeah, any other island.
That's right. Look at our pineapple and stuff like that. We can compete, but they don't want it that way. That's all I can say.
Yeah, the powers that be for the time being are satisfied with the marijuana being illegal, and they are profiting from the illegal trade in marijuana, and that illegal industry is what has propped up many of so-called established business in St. John's. A lot of the businessmen who try to make you believe or try to lie to you and tell you that there's such good business acumen that they have, that their business are functioning so well. No, they're just washing money. They're washing money from the illegal marijuana industry in Antigua and Barbuda. We know a lot who they are. And maybe at some point in time, maybe we'll have to reveal it. Because what I do remember is that Samantha Marshall, early last year, was on the committee to, what's the word? They're going to decriminalize marijuana.
Oh, that's what
right?
she said.
And she has not come back with a plan. We don't know what the plan is to decriminalize marijuana. When we went to see the Rastafarians 2-3 weeks ago, they told us they met with the Prime Minister, and he said before the end of this year that he's supposed to decriminalize it. And I was trying to tell some of the Rastamen, why you all going halfway? That is like when a woman is halfway pregnant or almost pregnant. Is that you're pregnant or you're not pregnant?
One or the other.
Because when you decriminalize marijuana, the people who really benefit is not the Rastafarians. The people who benefit are the illegal drug dealers.
Yeah.
Because before, who would be a little shy to take a chance with smoke and buying marijuana will be emboldened now that it's decriminalizing, or they're not going to go to jail or get a hard time or go into the jail cell. So they will be making more profits.
Yeah, the sellers remain the same.
The customers will be there.
Yeah. You get more customers and the sellers remain the same.
Yeah,
It's the same people who are going to sell the product.
It's a vicious cycle if they go down that line with criminalizing marijuana.
It is, absolutely. No two ways
and I believe that the drug dealers will be even more vicious because they will have more profits to protect.
That's so true.
From their opponents.
Oh, very much
because it's still illegal. It's just that if they find you as an individual with a certain amount of marijuana, that you won't be going to jail. You won't be victimized or being beaten by police and so on. But at the end of the day, that is just adding zero signs at the end of the profits for the drug dealers now. And it is still an illegal trade. So I am 100% against decriminalizing marijuana. It has to be legalizing it. Take that industry out the hand of the illegal drug dealers and put it into the hand of a legal person who is paying their benefits, their social security, medical benefits, and their education levy, putting that money into our treasury, which has been depleted, right? And have a highly regulated industry where we have all the plants that are out there on these farms who have licenses to grow marijuana. They're all tagged. We know how much the yield is because we are working with the farmers and to see how much he roughly produces every year from here on out. For the time he's in production of this product, and that the rate that he will sell it to the government. If you hear you can make about maybe 10 tons, 20 tons of marijuana a year. That's a good year. And then all of a sudden the following year you're making 100,000. No man, somebody padding that harvest, man. Somebody adding something more to that. It is illegal. All of that will be legal. You can't go and get drugs from Jamaica and St. Vincent to pad up what you're selling to the government, the syndicate.
That's right.
You understand?
That's why we have to check the quality too, Via. You check on the quality because most of these islands produce a different quality of marijuana.
Of course, yeah.
So we will have our quality. We should be able to
determine. We'll have our scientists, we'll have our regulators to see what is being put out there, and not only from the harvesting of the product, but also to the people who have a license to deal for medical marijuana issues, for people who are the occasional smoker. You'll have the clothes and so on. They all have to have a license to do that. And when that is done, the people who are smoking it, the dealerships, those will have to be investigated. And people will have to go in there, spot inspections. Let me test the product. Let me take out my chemistry lab, or let me take a sample back to my lab to see the quality. Because a part of the problem in our society where we have a lot of people hooked on drugs is because they get slipped a Mickey into their marijuana or whatever they're smoking or injecting into their hands. Down in Antigua, they call it, what they call it? Spranger. The spranger. When they mix the marijuana with cocaine or whatever substance. I think the Spanish term for that is pelico. So those who haven't heard that before, hear the new terms. And that is what we are planning to avoid. We're trying to safeguard our citizens, people who have an addiction to the marijuana, that they will get a pure, clean product.
Yeah.
In addition to that, they don't have to be going into no drug den to buy it, or where there's a lot of violence and they be going on the main street and buying it from a dealer. I mean, I have a problem with people smoking it any and everywhere. I believe that needs to be off the streets. I don't think children need to see that they're influenced by that. I think you have to have personal pride.
That's right.
But I believe we are actually at the end of the day have to enforce it through legislation. Certain section of the city where you can go and smoke that, certain shops that are established that you can go and smoke it. But to just say you're going in a bar, and smoking it,
or even stand up at the street corner there. Barefaced enough to do things like that. So we have to watch what's going on.
So true.
It has to be properly regulated, and it can be beneficial to the country there. Extremely beneficial.
So it is so simple to say you want to just legalize it, but I don't believe any other political organization has taken the time out, as we have, and to actually come forward with a plan on how it will be legalized. I believe in the coming months, you're going to hear more political parties coming on board for what we have decided to do for our economy over 3 years ago.
That's right.
I believe as the coming months come closer to election and people ask their politicians, how are you going to provide us with work? You're going to hear one of the main things that they're going to be championing is the legalization of the marijuana industry. But the part to look for is how do they plan to regulate it? How do they plan to administrate the whole industry? That is the key, because there are going to be many cronies who are going to be lining their products with an industry that is not properly regulated.
That's so true.
You know, Nedwell, I looked at the Daily Observer today, and I was stunned to see that the Minister of Labor, the Honorable QT Benjamin, was telling the employers to employ Dominicans.
What are you saying there? Can that be real?
That is in the paper today,
Observer.
the 20th of October's paper. You understand? And I have something seriously wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Seriously wrong with that. You are represented your constituency in Antigua, and you are representing the Antiguans for and foremost. So, Mr. Benjamin, if that is the best you can do, maybe we need to think about Mr. Benjamin and all in that constituency.
Probably.
There's my buddy, I like QT. He's out of all them people in that dirty, stinking, filthy, corrupt labor. I actually get along with him. And he's the Attorney General, and I do have business up there, my clients, and so we have to go on. So out of all them, he's the only one I really talk to on a fairly regular basis. But Jesus, man, QT, like get better than that. You cannot say that in public to the Antiguan people. Do you realize how hard it is out there? Antigans are catching hell in their own country. And you're telling a Dominican bang water to come here to go and there's a job employed thing. I didn't know we had full employment.
It appears that way.
I didn't know we had full employment.
That doesn't sound right, Bill. That sound really.
That was in the paper today.
That doesn't sound right
at all. That don't sound right. That sounds sick.
There are a number of Antigans that need work to do right now. There are a number of Antigans who are out of jobs right now there. So how are you going to look at the outsider before you even look at your own?
Listen.
The indigenous is catching hell there. I don't understand what's going on in Antigua with the people. It's
one thing to catch hell in a foreigner's country, somebody else's country, but in your own
country.
And your own representative is saying to hire the Dominicans.
Before you.
Although local businesses are not obligated to hire non-nationals who fled their countries following Hurricane
for whatever reason.
The Labour Minister, Stedroy QT Benjamin, wants them to consider the option. Benjamin, in an interview with Observer Media, said once there are vacancies existing and persons from the OECS apply for the job, then the employer is under obligation to select who is best for the position. On the current single market economy, OECS nationals are allowed to move freely with member states. Basically, free movement of skills entails the right to seek employment in any member state and the elimination of the need for work permits and permits of stay.
What the politicians are actually do, they're giving the outsider a blight most of the time. They're giving them the benefits and all that, so they don't see the need to resist anyway. And this is where we are going. We are going down a serious, hazardous path where, in terms of how politicians are running our life, they don't want to be accountable. They don't have to be accountable. And you know, one of the first things that took place with the CIPV was the politician telling you, well, look, the money isn't going through Treasury, and we don't have to tell you nothing about that money.
That's fun. And when you ask, did I give you a month or two later some of the figures?
Yeah, some little figure down the road, and some going to pass out and go to this particular establishment, another establishment. The whole thing is crazy. The accountability in that is poor as well, just as the due diligence.
As I said, Nedwell, name one institution that both the corrupt Labour Party and the United Progressive Party haven't corrupted, brought in the influence of their cronies, cannot account for the roadworks that have been done, the fencing the fencing scandal of playing fields, the Wadadley power plant, the romantic rhythms, free trade zone, or they used to call it free rate zone. Where is their accountability? After that is the performance in the past. Did anyone really think that any government formed by corrupt Labour United Progressive Party were going to be accountable in a CIP program?
No, they're not going
to have a dismal record. That is why me personally, I mean, we heard from one of our former members, Vaughn Connor, on the radio this week or last week.
This week?
Yeah, just this week. And the whole idea is the rumor that I'm supposed to be getting back with the United Progressive Party. I'm supposed to be groomed by ALP. No, not the United Progressive Party, by the ALP. I'm supposed to be groomed by the ALP corrupt Labour to get back into their good graces, and I'll be able to run in St. John's Road South on the Labour Party ticket.
When they kick out
the only ticket I am running on the rest of my life in Antigua and Barbuda is the Antigua Barbuda True Labour Party.
That's right.
If it's not that, or True Labour by some will of God goes defunct, I am out of politics. I am out of it. I am not going back over there. What they have over there: money, wealth, influence, prestige, big job, going to 5-star hotel, sleeping and waking up in a nice silk satin sheets and all that stuff, and the chocolate on your pillow when you wake up and when you come back into your bedroom, and room service and all kind of nonsense, and entertainment and per diem when you travel.
With what? Taxpayers' money?
With the taxpayer.
Okay.
Y'all hold on that. That's all right.
Oh, yes.
Werebird III is made of a little bit more principle.
Oh, yes.
Than the average politician in Antigua and Barbuda today.
That's right.
Because I got away out of that stuff. If I'd kept my mouth shut, I would have gotten that.
Of course.
I didn't even have to say in protest. I could just remain silent.
Would be yours,
I am a qualified individual. I am an educated individual.
That's right.
If I had kept my mouth shut, people like me saw what they need to associate with them.
Yeah.
But I will not associate with that. That is just corruption. And we stay out of that. As I said on the radio sometime, I'm like a butterfly. You know, you are the caterpillar, and you're gradually metamorphosized into a beautiful butterfly. I am past corrupt Labour and United Progressive Party. I can't say I've been there with the UPP before, but I've lived 10 years under the administration. So I'll say been there, try that.
Yeah,
I've experienced it, and I don't want any more of the UPP. And what's the soul United Progressive Party is corrupt Labour, ABLP. I've had enough of those people running this country into the ground every election, every administration. And all the time, nobody accounts for what they have done. All they're telling you, we're ready for the rescue. 2004, they were ready for the rescue. 2014, they had the rescue plan. I hear the guy who's supposed to be running for the UPP up McChesney, Mac Emmanuel. He saying he is ready to rescue Antigua and Barbuda. I said, so wait, you think it's no Antigua need rescuing? What about 10 years ago? What about 10? He didn't realize Antigua was in a bad state 10 years ago?
No, he doesn't know.
Okay, Mr. Emmanuel. Anyway, the problem in Antigua is there are no jobs. This government does not have a plan to create jobs. Now, we want to play a clip here right now, one of the clips by the Prime Minister, where he promises so much and has delivered so little. Listen to this clip here.
We will make sure that within our first 18 months of taking over the governance of this country, that we reduce unemployment by at least 50%. And I said to you tonight that within 3 years of our first term in office, we will put every single able-bodied in this country to work. It will be full employment with labor.
Nedwell, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
217 minus 214.
Yeah.
So how many years? What's the difference?
It's past 3 years. Yeah. It's past 3.
I just wanted to make it sound more complicated than it was. That's anything.
That's
Am
right.
I something wrong? As Mr.
With the
Mathematician?
calculation.
The election
No,
was
it's not.
2014.
That's
Mr.
right.
Prime Minister,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Irma and Maria hit Antigua and Barbuda and the various islands, we were supposed to have full employment
That's
by
right.
now.
Yeah.
There's not one single individual in Antigua and Barbuda that was supposed to be at want for work.
Full employment.
But you see what happened? You're a failure. You're abysmal failure. And the only people that will be standing up for the Prime Minister and corrupt labor are the people who got work.
That's
The
right.
cronies who got the limited
Who
resources.
benefit. That's right.
I have
Who
to say, we
benefit from
can't
their
do any
corruption.
better. We in the True Labour Party believe we could do a better job. It could be
Absolutely.
a more equal and fair dispensation
Yeah.
of the limited resources of the state.
That's
And that
right.
is what we are saying to you, that what is in the treasury needs to be used to benefit
Yeah.
all Antigua
That's right.
and not a
Probably.
certain clique, a certain
of people.
set,
That's
a
right.
certain
Yeah.
entitled group of individuals. And I'm not only talking about the Prime Minister and his family. I'm talking about a lot of the incompetence in the corrupt Labour Party, the hangers-on, the so-called members who get paid without working for their salaries.
Very much
It's
so.
easy work a lot of them are getting right
That's
now.
right. That
They're
was-
smiling around, driving brand new government cars, putting on a tie for the first time in their life.
And
But
get
I'm saying
paid
to
for
you,
that. They get paid
to
for that.
all these cronies, enjoy it while it lasts.
Oh, yes.
Because it will come to
Absolutely,
again.
Yes, must come to an end.
That is one thing we are certain
And
of.
this is what we are striving for them particular sort of behavior.
I know it's coming to an end in St. John's Road South.
Oh, yes.
Because
Yes.
I saw an individual this week, as by a Lord Chambers, an individual come and tell me to support them for their candidacy in St. John's Road South. I was like, wait. This guy know that I've been campaigning since after that last election.
He knows.
I went out a month or two after. I was campaigning in Lower Otters, Top Otters radio range.
That's right.
After the election.
That's right.
I only stopped because I got married and my wife was giving birth. And then some of the things happened. We had to move my Lord Chambers, and then we had to find a new place that we have our True Labour meetings and so on. And it kind of threw us off our message because you're like, wait, we don't even have anywhere to hang our hat.
That's
But we
right.
got that sorted out. Nedwell and I have been campaigning since February.
Oh,
so it means
yes.
I am going to
And
support
he
you.
knows that. He knows that. He
What do you mean
sees
I'm
me.
going to support you?
Yeah,
I
know
saw
you understand
Daryl
what that
Matthew
question
in
is.
the potential corrupt Labour candidate for St. John's Road
Road
South
South as well.
today.
Yeah.
And I saw him in the bank ACB by what you call it again? Village Walk over on Friday Road.
Okay, yes.
I went up there and said, man, I'm looking for you on the campaign trail, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you. He just smiled. He didn't say nothing else.
He didn't say.
I said, to me personally, the more y'all get into this thing, is the merrier and the
Of
better for
course,
me.
Absolutely.
because they will
Well, it's-
compare me,
Oh, yes.
Bear
to the
Cornell
rest.
Bird III, who was campaigning and
To the
going in and
rest.
helping and assisting
That's
people
right.
before I even knew I wanted to become a candidate.
Yep.
Before 2014, before 2009, I was always in there helping
Oh,
people
yeah,
with
that's right.
legal
Helping
assistance.
people. By myself.
So we'll see how it goes. Yes, we're the smallest of the parties, of the political parties now that are contesting at that election, but we're probably the one with the most hope and the most
That's true.
capability
I will
for St.
second
John's
motion on
Rural
that.
South
That's
and
true.
for these other constituencies where we'll be contesting.
So
No, I'm not
correct.
going to lie to you and tell you that we have our 17 candidates at this point in time. To do that will be just being dishonest. But I believe what we are coming with and the time of the election will be the best choice for Antigua and Barbuda. So what I'm saying to Antigua and Barbuda is to keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. Because if you keep an open mind, you'll be able to hear new ideas and new ways of thinking.
And act
And that can
rational.
only assist the democracy.
That's true.
Do not close your mind to our message. And that is what we're here on True Labour Talks to do. you know. So, Nedwell, we're getting close to coming to an end. It's 54 minutes into our broadcast.
Okay.
I'll say a few words now, and then I'll leave the outro to you.
Okay.
In Antigua and Barbuda today, we are having a serious difficulties with our economy. The political establishment does not want to consider the legalization of the marijuana industry. And there's so many other sub-industries that could be formed, or avenues to employ your citizenry through the legalization of marijuana. That is one of the policies that this political organization will pursue if you elect me into office. In addition to that, we want to start a light manufacturing industries in Antigua and Barbuda. And it doesn't have to be a company that was formed in Antigua. It could be a company from Trinidad, it could be a company from Santo Domingo, but they need to open up a manufacturing plant in Antigua. Form a local company and hang your shingles up outside, trading as this in Antigua and Barbuda, and employ Antiguan and Barbudans. That is the way you're going to find work. We will encourage small industry in Antigua and Barbuda, and it doesn't have to be indigenous. It can come from anywhere else. As long as it is incorporated in Antigua, that business, and employing Antiguans, they will be getting the benefit and the assistance of a true labor government to get into the hotels, to sell their products to the hotels. We have to have a niche market to sell our products to the hotels. Whatever the hotel industry needs, it should be manufactured here in Antigua and Barbuda. Only if we cannot manufacture it, it should be allowed to be imported into Antigua and Barbuda. So that is one of the policies that we have been pushing for a very long time. It is in our manifesto of 2014, and we will continue to push light manufacturing, legalization of the medical marijuana industry, in addition to a war on cronyism. We need to legislate laws against contracts going out without going through the tender board. Nobody having contracts that are tendered. We need to put an end to that.
Yeah.
The days of the crony need to come to an end. And it's good that we're a small party now, because the cronies won't look on us now, because we don't have anything to offer them. But the day you put True Labor into office, we have no baggage, because we don't have anything. We're not promising anybody any big job or big contract when we get into office. So on that note, I will leave it here. And Nedwell, you have exactly 3 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
So fire off.
You know, it's not only the cronyism and all that we have problems with here. We have problem in Antigua with proper representation. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the candidate for St. John's Rural South that just spoke to you. And that's the guy really I'm vouching for to be representing to you after next election. After seeing what these guys had to offer over the years and what you got Winston Williams and you got scandals. You have Tico Lake and you have nothing being done. You can't even see the guy. So we are asking you, ladies and gentlemen, to take a second look. And you listen. You have to listen too. You listen to the representatives. You see what they come with and you see what they have to offer. True Labor, over the years, our manifesto told you what we were planning for you. And you know, you didn't grab it the last time round. We are hoping that you grab it this time round and understand exactly if it's not going to be True Labor, it's not going to be done. Because the other two major parties think that they're so huge. They think that they don't even have to go to work. They don't have to do nothing for you. As the representative just told you, they go out there, they put on their tie, and you know, there's not much work done, and they get paid for it. And if that's the case, they're not going to be stopped doing it, because that sort of living is sweet. I'm telling you, you don't have to work for what you are getting paid for. Who don't want that? You know, only you have to have some pride within yourself to say, hey, that's not the way I've been taught. That's not my basic. You see, more basic is by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. And since when has that stopped? So, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be thinking quite carefully. This whole thing is getting out of hand. They have diluted your power in Antigua in the first place to set up the migration process the way it was set it up. And you see where it's heading to. It's heading to the people who have been migrated here. Are getting jobs and so forth ahead of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be really thinking serious about how you're going to cast your next vote and what's the purpose of you casting your next vote. Is it for you and your children and children to have a better life down the road? Well, if that's the case, the representative for Rural South has just told you, keep an open mind, because that thing that they come and roll up some money in a T-shirt for you and all that, and think that's you. That's all you know that you really want in life. That's presumptuous. And if you continue to live with, you're validating that you're being that presumptuous. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying to you, come next election, go out there and do the right thing. Think carefully, see what's been happening to you over the years, and go out there and just do the thing that's going to benefit you down the road.
Vote through Labour.
Vote through Labour. That's what it
All
is.
the way.
We have the plan. And I told you before, and I'm telling you again, our manifesto, the name of our manifesto is the plan. And that's the plan to rescue you and rescue the rescuers, or the so-called rescuers who were promised that they were going to rescue the country and rescue this and rescue. There were a lot of rescuing. Things remain the same. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have a pleasant one, and think about what we have told you today. Keep an open mind. Vote through Labour down the road.
Through Labour all the way.
Yes.
Take good care. Bye for now.
Bye now.
A buzzard took a monkey for a ride in the air. The monkey thought that everything was on the square. The buzzard tried to throw the monkey off of his back, but the monkey grabbed his neck and said, "Now listen, Jack, straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use of diving? Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." The buzzard told the monkey, "You are choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzard right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's so touching, it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." Bree, bree, doo, bree, bree, doo, da 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 da. The buzzard told the monkey, "You are choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzard right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's so touching, it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top."